This is Robert at Merritt Webb, and this is the second installment of the critical analysis of the DSM-5. I'm not going into too many details, but for those that are familiar with the DSM-4, I do want to highlight some of the areas that are radically different. If you have not listened to Critical Analysis Part 1, go listen to that first. This is really a continuation. So I'm going to get through this in this video, and I'm not going to do any more beyond this. Discussed some of the adding something here that I need to discuss is really critical. There are 20 categories, really. There's 22. There's one that they that's medication based. I don't understand why they did that, because it's medication based stuff is in almost every category anyway. But they've got medication induced movement disorders, adverse effects of medication. I don't know, it's very confusing. I'm looking at the table of contents in the book itself. And then other conditions may be the focus of clinical attention. Well, basically what they're telling you there is that these are the runners-up. They didn't make it into actual classification, or couldn't find somewhere to put them. Most of them have, in the past, been in here, and were usually diagnosed, I believe, on Axis 4. The Axis system is gone in DSM-5, and that's probably a good thing. I didn't understand why personality disorders and mental retardation weren't in its own axis in DSM-4. I didn't get that. It was kind of confusing. And then there was a medical thing. That was okay. Axis 3. And Axis 4 was environmental factors. Well, this one section here on page 715 of the actual text, other conditions that may be a focus of clinical attention. All of these have, most of these have V scores, which means, or 900 series ICD-9 scores, which means that they were also included somewhere in the ICD-9, probably as a Axis 4 environmental issue. This is not titled correctly, where it says other conditions that may be focus. They could have done a much better job defining that. But I'm going to program that, because some of that is useful, and it's going to function essentially like Axis 4 did. There's stuff in there like child psychological abuse historically and stuff. So, you know, there are some factors that are not real mental disorders but may have contributed to the mental disorders. And I think it's important to put those in there. There are a couple sections in this book that just really confuse me. Under the sleep disorders heading, sleep-wake disorders right here, you've got sleep apnea. Now, sleep apnea is a medical condition. It's not a mental disorder. Why we have, and there are a number of these, narcolepsy, which is it's not a mental disorder, it's a medical disorder. In the sleep-wake disorder section, there are a number of issues there that are purely medical and are not mental or psychological or emotional. I haven't got a clue why they're in there. It makes no sense. It looks like somebody was thinking about something and didn't completely spell it out completely, and it got stuck in there, and probably a committee had a world war over it, and so it stayed because somebody, pushed the issue or whatever. But probably the biggest one is this here, neurocognitive disorders. Oh, come on now. Alzheimer's is in here in a manual of mental disorders. It's not a mental disorder. And no psychologist on down should be diagnosing this particular issue. Under the neurocognitive disorders heading, there are a ton. I'm looking it up now. I'm talking about expanded table of contents. There's like 4 pages of neurocognitive disorders. Delirium, okay, I can see that. Alzheimer's, Lewy bodies disease, vascular neurocognitive disorder, TBI, traumatic brain injury, neurocognitive disorder due to HIV infection, prion disease, Huntington's disease, and of course your catch-alls, a disorder due to another medical condition, disorder due to multiple etiologies, unspecified neurocognitive disorder. Come on, people. We don't diagnose this stuff. This is medical stuff. Whole chapter of this stuff in here. Why? Don't know. Nobody explained it to me. Don't know why it's in there. Okay. So I covered that. One final thing. I'm going to close this out. Substance abuse. I know a lot of you deal with substance abuse. See how many times ADS has been administered, and I know that a lot of people deal with substance abuse. In my opinion, this particular issue has been done the greatest disservice. It's horrifyingly confusing. Somebody was in the middle of a train of thought again when they were pressured probably to finish this manual. The whole concept of substance abuse here is messed up. It's no longer substance abuse. It's no longer substance addiction. It's substance use disorders. They completely blur the idea that a person can be physiologically addicted to a drug. Now, to kind of shift gears just a bit, well, let me jump over here. Substance use disorder. This is from the APA themselves. And they're talking about addictive disorders. Problem is, if you read the DSM-5, the word addiction does not occur in there. It does not occur. You cannot say that a person is addicted to alcohol. It's not possible to diagnose a person as an addict to any drug. There's withdrawal symptoms, which is kind of an indicator, but it's not a clear indicator of addiction. It's kind of a backdoor way of saying a person is addicted. So this whole substance use disorder thing, again, is more of a categorical analysis of a person's use of substances. And there's no real defining of what this means. There is no clear definition of abuse. There is a difference between abuse and use, and there's a difference between abuse, potentially, and addiction. A person may be abusing alcohol and not be addicted to alcohol. A person may be abusing benzodiazepines and may not be addicted to benzodiazepines. There is a distinct difference between those things. The DSM-5 absolutely blurs that entire thing. Now, from the National Institute on Drug Abuse, again, we're talking about a government agency. If you go up here and look, they define addiction as a chronic relapsing brain disease. It is characterized by compulsive drug seeking and use despite harmful consequences. It is considered a brain disease because drugs change the brain. Okay. Eating then is a disease because eating changes your brain. The brain changes can be long-lasting, can lead to many harmful other destructive behaviors. This is a minimizing of what true addiction is. True addiction is a physiological need for a substance, whether the person wants to use it or not. The body has become accustomed to that substance to the degree that the body must have it in order to survive. There is a difference between a heroin user, a heroin abuser, and a heroin addict. The addict must have the drug. The others, they just want the drug and use the drug. Some excessively and some not. This whole idea of what addiction really is being blurred, and in my opinion, that right there causes a problem in attempting to treat addiction. Again, here on verywell.com, I don't know too much about this site, but they're mentioning here a substance-related or addictive disorder. In the entire volume of the DSM-5, there is no such thing as an addictive disorder. There's substance use disorders. Addiction is avoided. It's not discussed. And here we have some of the indicators: alcohol use disorder, tobacco use disorder, cannabis use disorders, stimulant, hallucinogen, opioid, and on we go. I think there's 13 of those lists, and this is Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. This is the kingpin here in the addiction community. So the whole diagnostic criteria for addiction is messed up in the DSM-5. Totally, completely, absolutely messed up. Did a horrible job. The National Institute for Mental Health really, and this comes from 2013 while they were watching this thing develop, they are not happy with what came out of this. Now, they're not happy for a totally different reason. I'm not happy. But they basically say in this article right here that this entire system has become arbitrary. It's an arbitrary list of things. They want to undo the APA's DSM manuals and find their own way. Now they're going a totally opposite direction. They want to do a diagnostic approach based on biology. That means that every mental disorder would be biological, physiological. As it says right here, mental disorders are biological disorders involving brain circuits. Take that out to its logical conclusion. If this is a biological disorder, talk therapy may move you through the process a little bit. But what will really fix you? Drugs. If it's a biological disorder, then we medicate it. They are moving in the direction of medicating everything. No longer behaviors. No longer responsibility on the part of the person who has a problem to get past their problem, to resolve issues in their life that may be causing a problem. Take a pill to fix your brain. That's where we're headed. They want to map the cognitive circuit genetic aspects of mental disorders. Well, have fun with that. I want to see you map the cognitive and genetic mental disorder of some of these issues. Okay, of skin picking, the obsessive compulsive behavior of picking one's skin. Show me the genetics of that. This is going way too far. They're muddying the waters. DSM-4 started it. DSM-5 is moving in a direction, my guess is DSM-6. Can't be far behind because there's too many things in here that are messed up. Well, for now, I'm going to close this out, and this has been DSM-5 Critical Analysis Part 2.